Hello, I'm Bryan Hutcheson, Sheriff of Rockingham County in the city of Harrisonburg, and thank you for joining us for this week's segment of the Rocktown Crime Report on rocktownnow.com. Today is Friday, July the 12th. We did not do a segment last week, kind of due to the 4th of July holiday. Hope everybody had a great one, a good Independence Day, and everything went well there. So we didn't do a segment last week, but thank you for joining us for this segment this week. And actually, what we're going to do is we're going to pick up right where we left off in that segment from 2 weeks ago. And so we'll put up the graphic where we kind of left you with, is we were looking at the inmate numbers, the total population of responsible inmates that we had in the month of July. And you can see here, this is the graphic we used last time, looking at 2021, 2022, and 2023, kind of looking at those trends of the numbers of inmates here, as well as our inmates that were being housed at Middle River. And we kind of left July off because at that time it was still June, and we left those with question marks. Well, now we'll flip to those numbers, which we added in using that same graphic. We just included the updated numbers, and you can see that it's 276 here, 238 at Middle River, for a total of 514. And looking at that trend, which we kind of did, the summer months, does it get affected by the heat and the hot weather, affect the crime at all? Well, you can kind of look at that 4-year trend: 519 in 2021, 522, 476 in 23, and it had been going down as we talked about. Well, what happened? Well, we went back up, not back up in a huge way to the 514, but a lot closer to that 2021 number. If you really want to see it, kind of went down and back up in that consistent range. And I didn't add 2020 in, but if we would have for 2021 or 2020, that summer with COVID, the numbers were down. So really, if you were to graph that, 2020 would have been down, 2021 went up, 2022 as well as 23 went down, and then 24 was back up. But if you looked at it really as a 5-year thing, I think your graph, while it would zigzag year to year a little bit, if you looked at that graph over that 5-year period, it's going to be pretty flat, right around the 500 number. Actually, averaging those 4 years, if you do that, it comes out right to 502. So no real cause for alarm. It's not, obviously we like it for the numbers to go down, which is desired, but then also we don't want them to go up too bad. So at least if it's not staying down, it's staying fairly consistent, and we're not seeing any huge spikes. A little bit of variations, but fairly consistent over time. So that's kind of your trends there for the July jail numbers. Another thing we wanted to look at, if you look at this next graphic we're going to put up on the screen, and we had looked at this a few weeks back, actually a couple months back. If you look at the total inmates that we're locally responsible for, in March of this year, we had 517, and that breakdown was 309 here, 208 at Middle River. Well, then we had the whole situation where we had the pipes and we had to close the jail to do major repairs. And then you could see when we opened back up, that Monday after we opened back up, the number was pretty consistent, 516 total, but the breakdown of them was different because we only had 197 here while we had 319 down at Middle River. Well, we checked those numbers from this Monday. So that was this past Monday. And as we talked about at that time, that was going to level itself back out and kind of go heavier here and lighter at Middle River. Well, you can see that already. That number for us is back up to 276 here, 238 at Middle River, total of 514. Again, the total number is consistent. The only kind of point I guess we wanted to make with the variation is due to closing down, we had more inmates at Middle River, and now as time goes by, it's going to get closer to what we'd seen before, probably back in March, is what you're going to see here, and we're already seeing it. So we just kind of wanted to point that out. Again, looking at some numbers, some total inmate numbers, and the breakdown of them. So that's what that looks like. Next thing, normally we'll do a question of the week, and we actually had a really good question from the newsroom at rocktownnow.com that we were going to talk about. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of put that in the bank, get to that question next week, because what I wanted to do here this week is touch on, there's a missing person that we've been looking for and are continuing to look for, and we're going to get his picture up on the screen. It's Mark Edward Sipe. If you haven't heard, we've put it out a few times, but I just wanted to take a quick second to put it out again, that we're trying to locate this individual, Mark Sipe. At this point, we've searched all the areas where he's known to have been and all the areas where he's believed to have been, including numerous additional areas that we've searched this week. And we've used the canines and the drones and doing that. And actually, I want to take a quick second and say a big thank you to Rockingham County Fire and Rescue, because with those drones, I mean, they're very good with those drones, and really appreciate what they've been doing. And again, continuing to do for us with that. That's a big help with those drones. You can search a large area, and out in that area where he is kind of believed to be missing from, the Orbank Road area, is a lot of rural areas. It's just a vast area and hard to search. But thanks to County Fire and Rescue for helping us as they continue to do with those drones and the dogs that we've been using. But really, everything up to this point, we just haven't had any positive results. So where we're at with it right now, our investigators are working the case as if it is criminal. By no means are we certain that it is criminal, but we're treating it, just to be extra precautious. We're treating it as if it could be criminal, the disappearance of Mark Sipe, and we're very much trying to get down to what happened, what's his whereabouts. And so, if you hadn't heard this already, we want to put it back out there. We got Crime Solvers to put out a $5,000 reward. And so I want to emphasize the way that that works. If it's Crime Solvers, so if it's a crime, if it turns out to be any information that leads to solving that crime, that individual is eligible for a $5,000 cash reward, which can be anonymous. It can be 100% strictly anonymous, $5,000 cash reward that they've been kind enough to put out there. Crime Solvers works with us in the community, and this is a perfect example of an instance where if this can be helpful in determining what happened to him, then it's available. $5,000 cash reward. You can call 540-574-5050 anytime and let them know. And I think actually what we're even going to try to do, if it turns out to not be criminal, we can probably still make a reward eligible too. So if you have information, know somebody who might have information, let them know to call in. Of course, you can call the sheriff's office, 540-564-3800, or you can call that number for Crime Solvers, 540-574-5050. But even if it turns out to be non-criminal and someone has information, we'll find a way to make sure that if they desire to, they can be eligible for a reward also. And so really what it comes down to right now is just doing what we can. Somebody we feel like knows something. We've gotten some conflicting information, which doesn't help. And there's only one set of facts, but when you hear different things, what's true, what happened to him, and that's really what we really want to determine. So if be eligible for award and contact us because we're working on that. But if we're going to get back to the question of the week next week. If you have one, you can email the question to the week to news@rocktownnow.com, and we'll include that for future segments. Again, I think we have a great one for next segment, but I wanted to include that the situation with the missing person, Mr. Sipe, we're trying to locate, and any help is appreciated in doing so. So appreciate you tuning into this segment, and we're going to continue to do it every Friday. Again, just trying to provide some information about what's going on here in Harrisonburg, Rockingham, and appreciate you tuning into this segment, and we'll see you next time.